Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another stale movie review. Today we're going to be talking about Trilogy of Terror. Alright, so this movie comes to me via request from one of my creepy royalty, Josh, aka JG from NC, on my Patreon list. So thank you so much for requesting this review, Josh, and thank you to all my other creepy patron peeps as well for your support of my channel. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep, you can follow that link in the description. Quick summary of Trilogy of Terror reads: Trilogy of Terror, of course, is a 3-story horror anthology all surrounding tormented women. In the first story, Julie is a sexually repressed college teacher who's blackmailed by one of her students for a past indiscretion in which she played an unwilling part. But the student is unaware that Julie plots to turn the tables on him the first chance she gets. The second story, Millicent is a plain-looking, almost reclusive woman who lives with her amoral twin sister, Therese, whom delights in tormenting her. However, only their doctor, who visits from time to time, knows the real thing behind the scene. In the final story, Amelia, in a solo horror story monologue, is a mother-dominated woman who buys an African Zuni fetish doll for her latest boyfriend, in which the doll comes to life and terrorizes her in her own apartment. So, fun fact, and probably something you saw on the movie info card, which is just my little joke. All three of the stories, which I just quickly summarized there, all star Karen Black. So she plays the role of all of the main female characters in all 3 of the horror shorts, which is pretty awesome. And she also contributed a lot to the film, particularly the last one, which is called Amelia. She contributed a lot of her own ideas, from changing up the dialogue when she's talking to her mother on the phone, and that very chilling ending of the last one, which I won't give away, but it's when she smiles at the end, and other stuff as well, like helping with practical effects like the blood and guts and things like that, which is super cool. I loved that. But now let's get into what I liked about Trilogy of Terror. All right, I did really like the length of all the segments. I feel like they were like the perfect length. They weren't too short, they weren't too long, and they all used their time wisely, if that makes any sense. Like, it didn't feel like, you know, anything was stretching out for too long that could have been a shorter segment. Like, I feel like the stories that they were telling were just perfect enough to tell in a short story format. Like, it didn't feel like I needed more of a story. Obviously, I think they would all do pretty well as a longer form, but I didn't feel like I needed to see more of it to understand it better, if that makes sense. I also really like how all of the main female characters that are portrayed are all different. So they're not all like damsels in distress, victims, final girl type characters. They definitely vary. Like, sometimes Karen Black is the villain, sometimes Karen Black is the victim, you know what I mean? Like, all of her characters that she's playing, they're all different types of women. It's not all just like 3 short stories about a female victim having something horrible happened to her. Do you know what I mean? Speaking of Karen Black, she did an amazing performance. All of her characters were so different from each other, and you could tell, like, within the story, the characters, like, they were written differently. Like, they were all completely different types of characters, and she played them all so well. At no point did I feel like she was just playing the same character or she was just using the same tricks. Like, you could tell she really put a lot of effort into making each character its own, which was really amazing. Of course, as it is an anthology, I have to tell you which one was my favorite segment. Hands down, my favorite one was the first one, which, sorry if I'm looking down, I'm trying to see if I wrote down the name of it. Julie or Julia? It's either called Julie or Julia or something like that is the first segment name, which I loved. I thought that one was my favorite one. That one was my favorite one. I think the twist at the end was the best. I was not expecting that to happen. Anyways, though, let's get into what I didn't like about Trilogy of Terror. All right, so really the main thing I feel like I was kind of missing with this movie was like some sort of like connecting story, like to go in between the shorts, or even just like a bookend sort of thing, like something at the very beginning, something at the end, to kind of mesh all of them together. I feel like it literally just opens with the first one, and then it goes right into the second one, goes right into the third one, and then it just ends. There's no like bookend pieces or wraparound story. I feel like it was kind of just, that was the only thing it was really like missing it to kind of elevate it into like a really awesome horror anthology, because it just feels like 3 random short stories just put together to package as a movie. Or it feels like, you know, like Karen Black's like film reel or something, you know, for auditions. Like here are 3 of some of my best performances, like just put together. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not, you know, it didn't feel cohesive. Like it felt like the only thing that was connecting them was that the fact that Karen Black was starring in them, if that makes any sense. So I was kind of just missing some sort of like bookend story or a wraparound story to bring them all together. Some of the stories were kind of predictable, particularly the second one. I saw that twist coming a mile away. And I mean, that could just be because I've seen a lot of horror movies that are similar to that. So, you know, pretty much from when the movie started, I was like, I get it. It was still a little bit entertaining though, because I still had to watch to the end of it to see if I was right or not. Then of course, since I talked about my most favorite one, I have to talk about my least favorite of the 3 shorts, which was the third one. Although I really loved the beginning of it and the end of the third one, which is called Amelia. I feel like it was I don't know, it was just, the bulk of it was just Amelia being attacked by that like African Zuni doll or whatever it was. But the beginning and end of it were awesome. If that makes any sense. Just the middle parts, I was getting bored. So was Trilogy of Terror worth it? I say sure. Despite anything I found wrong with it, they were still really well done shorts, you know, each in their own right. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was pretty good altogether. Probably not gonna be something I, you know, go back and watch 5 million times, but, you know, not so bad that I'm never gonna watch it again. You know what I mean? IMDb, it has a 6.7 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 90% critic score and a 57% audience score. I think I wrote 7. I can't really read my own handwriting right now. And then on Letterboxd, it has the average score of 3.1 out of 5. And I was able to watch Trilogy of Terror on Amazon as usual, so I'll leave an affiliate link in the description box if you want to watch it that way. There's no pressure to use that link, but if you do, it does help out the channel a little bit. So if you've seen Trilogy of Terror, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. As always, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe and ring that bell to become a Creepy Peep today and be notified every time I post a new video, which is Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye.